Lonzo Ball recording his first victory in Fortnite. Was so excited, woke up his girlfriend at 3:14 in the morning. Do you feel this is an okay wake up?
I ain't never seen him that excited in my life.
No kidding.
I would love to see him win the NBA championship and see how excited he would get.
I was going to say, come on.
Lonzo.
What do you feel the rules are?
I don't know, but that breaks it. Whatever the rule is, that breaks it.
Welcome to The Jump. I'm Rachel Nichols. Our insider Brian Windhorst is here. Three-time champion Byron Scott with us as well. And Lakers legend of the game, Elgin Baylor, stopping by later today as well. I am so excited. Yeah. Stick with us. All right. So I've been joking on the show about, well, let's just call it the trajectory of enthusiasm for the Sixers. Less than a month ago, Philadelphia was the sneaky NBA insiders pick for the conference finals, a notion that, frankly, largely drew laughs from most of the rest of the sports world. Then the Sixers started running off that crazy winning streak to close the season. And then they were doing it without Joel Embiid. And then they ended up in what looks like the easier side of the bracket. By the time we got to this past weekend, when they won their first playoff game by 27 points, forget any NBA insider thing, the Sixers were so buzzy it felt like you couldn't even turn on C-SPAN without someone trying to hot take the guy next to him over how many consecutive titles Philadelphia was about to win. It's been such an avalanche of hype, it initially seemed to daunt some of the Heat players in this current series. Last night, they fell behind again by as many as 9 in the first quarter. But there was one guy waiting to come off the bench who, well, let's just say Dwayne Wade has seen all this before. Over 15 years, he's seen more teams riding hot streaks than he could count. Heck, he's been on several of them. And he knows what it takes to win in the playoffs. You remember that kid from back in 2006 who was all cartilage and no bones, hurling himself at the basket, popping back up for more? That was the year he juiced one of the great comebacks in NBA Finals history. And it would hardly be the last time. That Game 4 he played in the 2013 Finals, yeah, that one is going with him to Springfield. Now, at age 36, it's highly doubtful we will see Wade play at that level for those stakes again. He said several times this spring he is contemplating retiring. But as he checked into the game in Philadelphia last night, it wasn't hard to tell he intended to do something. And boy, did he. He completed the first half by single-handedly outscoring the entire Sixers team 21-20. But more importantly, he convinced his teammates they could get back into the game and into the series. And when it came time for him to help the Heat close, when Philadelphia had tightened things up again at the end of the fourth, well, he did that too. My favorite moment was this one, a 23-footer over Ben Simmons to seal the win. A little stare down of his friend Kevin Hart there at the end. Hart had been trash-talking Wade all game, and afterward, Wade joked that was part of what got him going. But hey, anyone who knows Wade knows that is not what truly motivates him. He loves this time of year. He loves being the guy who comes up big in the biggest moments. And well, maybe he's no longer the one on the team that everyone is buzzing about. At least for one night, he loved being the guy to tell them all to sit down and be quiet and let the old man make some noise. So, Byron, I mean, look, there could be maybe a strategy for the Heat. Just let Dwayne go out and get 30 a night from the 36-year-old. I don't think maybe that would work. So I want to talk to you about the other adjustments you saw the Heat make and whether you think any of that is enough to maybe let them take control of the series.
Well, I think they definitely got Philly's attention, number one. And I thought the adjustment that Eric Strauss made for Game 2 was they put a lot more pressure on Philly. Every time Ben Simmons got the ball, 94 feet, they were up on him. They bumped him, they held him, they hit him every single time. You know, JR already, every time he caught it, they were in his face. You know, so the Game 1, when you saw it, they gave him space. Game 2, they took away all that space, that airspace, and they did a much better job of challenging these three-point shooters that Philly had, where they made, 8 or 7 out of 19 or something like that? I mean, they were nowhere near as effective as they were in Game 1. So I think their adjustment was to be a lot more physical on Philly and really attack them on the defensive end. Then offensively, they said, all right, D-Wade, you know, go back to your younger years and do us a little favor and knock down some of these Jays. And then Kevin Hart started messing with him. I don't understand fans right now, Brian, because, let's just take a look back. You know, Spike Lee, he messed with Reggie Miller in the Garden. He tore him up. You know, You can't mess with these stars. These superstars, they love that.
And Dwayne's
they
done
love
that in the past.
And Dwayne has done it in the past.
With people both higher profile and lower profile than Kevin Hart.
But my point, though, about him is that's not normal. He's not like Michael Jordan. Everyone hates me. That's not what motivates him. He's more of a big moment guy,
he
right?
He plays with a smile.
Yeah.
But this game, Goran Dragic also was challenged. He came out and was aggressive right from the start. Dragic tackled it. Also, Justice Winslow did a terrific job defending.
Yes.
But the Heat play very tight games. And so the margin for error for them is small. And when you can get a production like that from Dwayne, it's just amazing. And yes, the difference, you're right, from this game is that in game one, the Sixers were too hot from three-point range.
Right.
In game two, they were too cold. We still haven't gotten that middle game.
Average.
And Embiid's not playing. But Wade can be the difference maker in a close game. And last night we had a close game, especially at the end. Dwayne Wade has been in 1,000 of those games.
Right.
Those Philly guys just haven't been. And you saw also even Kelly Olynyk, who we saw there, made big plays at the end of the game. He's played in a bunch of playoff games. And if every second of every game that ticks by where the Heat are in it, their chance gets better and better. Because at the end of a close game, they have Wade and they have the other players who've been there.
Do you see that?
Yeah, I do. And like you said, experience does count. When you're looking at this series, experience is big. And Miami has all the experience in the world of being in this position 1,000 times. And D. Wade has more experience, in his right hand than anybody on the Philadelphia 76ers. So if the game is tight and it keeps coming down, and that's what Philly wants to do. They want to keep this game in a controlled environment where they have a chance at the end to win the game because they know they have a few guys that can make big shots and make big plays. And that gives them an advantage. And Philly, if you just let them run wild and let them play free, then they can beat anybody. So I love what Miami did last game, and I think they're going to continue to do that in this game.
Smiles makes me smile seeing those old highlights of Dwayne.
Say, right?
I had fun watching that game.
It was fun.
I did.
It was fun. It's fun to have it be a series, no matter who you want to win.
Right,
It's fun when it's a series.
Yeah.
Goran Dragic going coast to coast for a layup in the final seconds of the win last night. That was interesting because in addition to hitting the over at some sports books in Las Vegas, Dragic also upset Sixers fans who booed him immediately. We've had this discussion a lot this year when it is, quote, okay for players to do this kind of thing at the end of a game where one team is obviously going to win. Byron, where are you?
I don't like it. I thought what he should have did is just dribble the ball out, let the clock expire and go to the locker room. So if I'm Philly and I'm watching this film and I see this, J.J. Redick right now probably should have just tried to take him out, first of all. That's what we would have did, Andy. We would have took him out for doing that.
Right, that's exactly what
You already won the game. Don't try to embarrass us, okay? So Philly's locker room right now, they're probably saying, oh, okay. It gives them a little bit more of a chip on their shoulder to come out in game 3 and try to get it done. But this is a different time and era. 80s, we would have took him out.
Well,
Bottom line.
This series is ramping. There was some action last night. Dario Saric and Olynyk and some other players. And also it's going to be tight. I expect the teams to split in Miami and to come back 2-2 for a really interesting Game 5. So I think we're going to see here a long series, and this just adds a little bit of spice, a little bit of edge we're already seeing.
It's funny because as you were saying that, Byron, I was thinking, oh, okay, when you're like, oh, that's going to get the other team going and bulletin board material and all of that, and that's usually not something you want to do, right? You don't want to give the guys extra juice or motivation. But, Brian, you're right. This is almost all the Heat does, right? They're all about needling and jabbing and sort of poking. And if they keep doing it, you wear the other team down.
I think it benefits the Heat. In fact, if I were Brett Brown, I would try to tell my team, hey, look, we're the better team here. Let's actually back off it. Don't get involved with Kelly Olynyk. Don't react to that. I don't know whether it's going to work or not.
Now, Kelly's pretty good at agitating players.
Right.
So I don't know if it's going to work either. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun to watch.
Well, I don't know how upset J.J. Redick was watching that happen right in front of him. I do know who was upset on the Sixers, though. Joel Embiid, upset about sitting out the game, took to his Instagram story to vent, effing sick and tired of being babied. All right, so look, here's Brett Brown's response for last night.
He just wants to play basketball. He wants to be with his team. He wants to play in front of the fans. He wants to see this through. And when he's not able to do that, he gets frustrated. And I respect his frustration. It's born out of competitiveness, and it's born out of him wanting to be with his team.
So, look, I just get the facts here. His status for Game 3, they're saying it's not clear. Brett Brown came out this morning and he said, we're all united. that was sort of, hey, he just wants to play. On the other hand, I don't know of any other player who could come out. I mean, that is really strong language. We did not obviously show you all of it, but even the other parts that you do see on the screen, sick and tired of being babied, that's really about the organization. Is it just, hey, Joel Embiid, like Charles Barkley, has kind of given himself so much runway that he can say anything like this, and everyone both inside and outside the team is like, that's just Joel being competitive.
Well, they're not babying him, they're protecting him.
Well, we know that,
Absolutely.
but he comes out on social media and says this. I want you to just pretend it's another player. What if Kyrie came out and said this?
Well,
what if,
you know what would happen. You would call him in the next day and say, we appreciate that you feel that way, but you can't do that on social media.
Right.
And when he's 27, he probably wouldn't do it. Oh, maybe, I don't know. Embiid's kind of, he likes being out there. Maybe
when he's 37.
Yeah.
He probably
I mean, the pressure on Philadelphia is to protect Embiid. It's not to play him in Game 3. It's to protect him so that he can be there potentially in a Game 3 of the conference finals. I mean, it is hard, as you know, Byron, keeping players back. And he's not just upset about not playing in this series. He's upset about all the stuff that's happened in the past. And so he's worked so hard to get here, and especially that they lost it. But look, Rachel, yesterday when we left the show, I said, I promise that there is going to be adversity for the Sixers.
Yep.
And here we are. This is what happens in a playoff run. You have to manage these things.
Yeah, I don't think it's adversity, though. I think, what Coach Brown said is true. The kid, is frustrated. He wants to play. If they would have won yesterday, you wouldn't have heard nothing from him. He wouldn't have said anything. But since they lost the game, he knows he can help this team win. He knows he's a big part of this team. He wants to be out there. He wants to be with his teammates. I agree with that. But at 23 years old or whatever he is right now, he's going to let that frustration get to him from time to time. And I think they're handling it right. I don't think it's going to divide the team. I don't think it's going to have anything to do with the team thinking that he's not one of them. I think even, if anything, they're going to know that he's even more so with them. He wants to be with them on the basketball court. So I don't think it's going to fuel them in any way, good or bad. I think it is what it is, and we know that this is a young kid that just wants to be out there and play with his teammates.
He also gave the Heat fans the playbook for signs and paraphernalia to bring to the game.
Babies and,
There could be rattles and
I can't imagine any of them doing that. That's never happened before. I will say, I don't think it's bad, by the way, that he, quote, gets away with this kind of social media behavior. I think it's good, first of all. I think it's great that, he adds fun and spice to the game. Players being honest is what we all, and by the way, we, including the fans, would like players to do. So I think it's great. I just think it's an example of, again, I used to work with Charles Barkley. He could literally say anything on the air, and most of the time people were like, oh, Charles, right? And I think Joel has kind of reached that point, and as I said, I think it's a good thing. It lets him just express anything he wants, and it's fun, and it's good for fans. Keep going. Maybe not giving Brett Brown a migraine, but keep going. All right, coming up, Draymond Green, another guy who says what he thinks, picking up a flagrant foul last night. Should it be rescinded? Because these count, guys. Here, though, is our distant replay, this date in 2011.
Here is Allen for three. Yes!
Producer Steve, Knicks fan, is in our ear saying, that was a dirty screen. Telling the Washington Post he was fat during training camp, but he shed 15 pounds while rehabbing from knee surgery. How do you see this affecting his on-court play, guys?
Yeah, I'm surprised about this because John is so attuned to his weight. It's really something that's happened during his career. He can tell you what he is at any time of the day, so I'm surprised that he admitted this. But I have to admit, I was impressed that he came back lighter after a knee surgery when he couldn't work out as much.
Yeah, that's very hard to do.
Right? Yeah.
Give him credit.
They need a win, though.
15 pounds lighter, that means he's
skinny
faster.
John Wall tonight. Miss fundamentals. The Sixers credit their ability to space the floor with adding a 4-point line to their practice court. It's a good idea, Byron.
Are they telling us something that we don't know? I mean, they got to start getting a 4-point line. I think it is for spacing purposes, so when they get to the basket, we all know in the NBA, when you get to the basket, the defense collapse. You got to have that spacing out there, but I think it also might be for the defensive purposes of putting pressure on guys to have to keep people in front of them.
This is another Mike D'Antoni thing in the league. Mike D'Antoni and the Rockets spread their players farther out than we've ever seen before over the last 2 years, and this is copycat.
Interesting. We heard the other day what the Raptors are doing to spread their guys out. It's interesting little practice techniques. Make touchdowns. Check out this pass from Dario Saric to Ben Simmons for the slam. It's a 6-point play, right?
You know what this was, Byron? I talked about how they were up on Ben Simmons yesterday.
Yeah,
this was actually an adjustment that Brett Brown made in the timeout to try to take advantage of how tight they were playing him. So he went for the long ball.
Yeah.
So they gave up that one, And it was a beautiful pass and a great play, but all in all, I think it worked. That they guarded him that tight.
And I've seen better. That was all right. 2 points. I've seen better.
Dang, Dario Saric. He didn't even grow up playing football.
It was all right.
I mean, soccer.
I've been part of better.
I've seen better.
Miss, high fives. Jordan Bell got left hanging by Iggy and pretty much half of his teammates. I mean, this does happen.
Just because it's the playoffs doesn't mean you're not a rookie anymore.
Right,
Byron?
That's right.
Was it
That's
Paul?
right. High five yourself. That's
Who
what
was it? Was it Phil Jackson who high-fived himself? We have like the whole montage of high-five people.
When your teammates miss you,
Just
give yourself some love.
boom. Make intimidation. After the jam, Iguodala, a fierce stare down of Manu Ginobili. Do you have to stare down Manu? Is this disrespectful?
I'm trying to figure out why
the
he stared him
nicest guy on
down.
the
It's not
planet.
like he dunked on him. I mean, he was behind him when he dunked the ball, so I don't understand the stare down. But
I am gonna get
this is on brand for Andre Iguodala. And he looks great in the playoffs, like we all suspected.
Of course he does. He was like, oh, I'm sorry, it's April. Now I'm going to start coming to
And
work,
had two
which
huge
is a
games.
good strategy for him because it works every year.
I like Mano's response. His look was like, what? What?
There's nothing you can say to me, sir.
Yeah, what?
I'm good. All right, the Warriors going up 2-0 in the series last night. But I do also want to get to this play because Draymond earning a flagrant foul, just over 4 minutes left in the game, hitting Davis Bertans with the elbow. So here's Draymond's account of what happened.
I don't care. It is what it is. Life goes on. More important things in life than worry about a flagrant point. Maybe get rescinded. I got choked, put in a chokehold, like I was in WWE or something. So, I may get rescinded. Who knows?
For someone to say he didn't care, it sounded like he cared quite a bit.
Well, you know why
rescinded,
he has
doesn't he?
to care, because we all know Draymond Green is particularly familiar with the point system for flagrant fouls. If he gets 3 more, if this doesn't get rescinded and he gets 3 more, then it is a 1-game suspension. And gee, guys, that 1 game could come at an inconvenient time. Do you think it should be rescinded?
No, it won't be rescinded, I don't believe. If his point is that Bertans had him a little bit, okay. Is his point that Bertans, flopped a little bit, okay, but he still threw an elbow at him. And considering his history, he is not going to get the benefit of the doubt. I know that seems unfair, but that is the truth. And remember, a couple years ago, he had a little altercation with Michael Beasley in a first-round game.
That was the beginning.
We never thought about it. It was right at the end of the game. We didn't care about it. But this play was just as important in him getting suspended in that finals game as his blow to LeBron's midsection, to put it kindly. Those two, it wasn't, people don't remember. He didn't get suspended for that act.
Right.
He got suspended for the culmination of those acts. And considering that we don't know when Steph Curry comes back, considering that the conference finals could be an absolute war this year, this is something we have to pay attention to here in April that could matter come late May.
His point of I don't care, to me means he does really care, and he understands how important he is to this team. Draymond has to be so much more careful and so much more in tune to what's going on out there on the basketball court because of the fact that he is such an important piece of this team. And if he don't remember, let me bring it to your attention, Draymond. The last time you got suspended for a game in the finals, your team ended up losing the finals, and you came out and said it was your fault. So just kind of go backwards a little bit, young man, because you are so important to this team. You got to understand, you can't go off like this on teams. You got 3 more, and you're going to miss an important game being at the Western Conference Final or in the NBA Finals if you guys happen to get there. And that's going to be a detriment to your team. So you got to just take it easy right now. Be careful.
It's hard, right? Because everyone knows Steve Kerr's talked about this. Draymond has to play with some edge because that's what makes the whole rest of the team go. But like everything else with the Warriors, they have less of a margin for error than they have ever had before.
Also,
he has
that Draymond is really smart.
Of course he is.
Yes.
He's smart enough to know that they're baiting him.
Yes.
So he should overcome that.
Yes. Players they're going to do everything they can to get him to overreact. And when they do it and he does what he just did last game, they got you.
All right, well, the Spurs, they know some of these tricks, too. And they did put up a good fight last night in the first half, right? Led 53-47, going to the locker room. LaMarcus Aldridge scoring 34 points, 12 rebounds. And afterward, praised LaMarcus Aldridge's leadership. Maybe something else? Take a look.
LaMarcus has been a monster all year long. He's led our team at both ends of the floor. He doesn't complain about a darn thing out on the court. He just plays through everything. I can't imagine being more proud of a player as far as playing through adversity and being there for his teammates night after night after night. He's been fantastic.
It's once he went to being there for his teammates, we got past, and then night after night. What did you think, Byron? You've been a coach up there on that stage.
Yeah, personally, I think this was all about LaMarcus and nothing about Kawhi. And I think us who know Pop pretty well know if Pop has something to say about Kawhi, he's pretty much going to say it about Kawhi. I think this was just showing the praise that he had for him all season long and the job that LaMarcus has done carrying this team to this particular point, and he wanted everybody to know it.
I do think it was about Kawhi, but I also want to point something out that a year ago, he would have said that about Kawhi and not have said that about LaMarcus. And in a year from now, we could flip that around and he and Kawhi could be together again. That's a reminder that golfs can be closed in Spurs. So it's not over with Kawhi. It's bad, but it's not over.
I also think that there's a big difference between, hey, this could have a richer, more nuanced meaning. I don't think it was just about LaMarcus Aldridge. I think the meaning is more nuanced, what it means to be there for your team night after night as a teammate for the Spurs this year, without it being a shot or a troll at Kawhi Leonard. If he really wanted to take the hammer to Kawhi Leonard, of course he could have taken the hammer to Kawhi Leonard. But you kind of see Popovich's thinking has been influenced through this season by the situation with some of his superstar players, and you saw maybe some of that coming out. So that there's nuance here. As with the Spurs, goes the NBA. Up next, we're going to continue our traveling debate from yesterday because it won't die.
Jeez.
Is it time for the refs to crack down on traveling? You got an opinion on this, I know you do.
Get a
So do
clue.
the guys up here.
Jeez.
Look, we showed you some of the most hilarious non-travel calls of opening weekend. Robert Covington doing the Cupid shovel, Karl Anthony Towns, just, taking a little stroll with the ball in his hand.
Walk around.
And the unstoppable double step back.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Joel Embiid even poking fun at Harden yesterday during his pregame routine. This was amazing. I don't know if we could take the bar down because it's like crazy to watch him do this with his feet. He's like, and 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. There we go.
Pretty good, though.
Look, my beef is always when fans complain about this after a loss. But he was traveling. That's never the reason why you lose a hotly contested playoff game. That being said, traveling is against the rules. Maybe we should crack down on it a little more.
You think? I mean, look, first of all, it makes the referees look bad. Because I'm sitting there, and I'm an ex-NBA player and a coach, and, I'm watching the game, and as soon as the guy does it, I'm yelling, that's a walk.
Right.
So how doesn't 3 other guys see that on the floor that has stripes on their shirt that are in charge of this game? So I think it makes the league look bad. It makes obviously the referees look bad. But you gotta crack down on this. There's too many guys who get away with this. And I'm not saying it's costing the opposite, the opposing team the game, but just a call's a call. And if it's legal, make the call. Look at
That was years ago.
That was a few years ago, right?
I like it.
It's still true to this day. The last thing that fans want is for them to crack down on traveling, because you may think you want it, but if it actually they called everyone, you would be so annoyed by the whistles and what it would do to the game. 2 things. First off, officials are taught to referee from the middle of the player up, and they're looking at other things, which I know they probably tell you, Byron, and drives you crazy. Secondly, Secondly, I don't know, and we're pointing out the obvious ones that the refs miss, but I don't know if NBA fans really know what a travel is, because there's a whole rule about the gather, which is as complicated as the catch rule in the NBA or in the NFL. But players do very legal moves. LeBron is brilliant at it. Giannis Antetokounmpo is brilliant at it. And they make moves that, yes, are travels, but they also make moves that are legal. So trust me on this one. It's just something you're going to have to hold your nose and deal with it, and hopefully you won't see this egregious stuff continue.
First of all, you were the first person to ever mix up Giannis Antetokounmpo and DeMarcus Cousins. However, to get back to the point.
It's been a long week.
I understand. The first weekend of the playoffs is a lot of games all the way
You get
together.
2 steps after you pick up the ball. That's it, 2.
I know, but some people, when the player is gathering, they start counting the steps when they don't actually have it yet.
You think maybe there is a wide range between crackdown on every travel, which I think you're right, would be time-consuming, and maybe just a couple of the more high-profile ones call it a little tighter. Maybe. There you go. You know what the music means? Come on, let me hear it. Let me hear it. Let me hear it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I need to get we need to get this is like massage music.
No travel on that play.
It's so relaxing.
That was legal.
Run it back, baby. D-Wade showing out last night in Philly. 28 points on 11 for 16 shooting in 26 minutes. And after the game, he attributed his big night to Kevin Hart.
Kevin
This is
Hart.
Ramona Shelburne.
Kevin Hart.
What got into you tonight?
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart, really?
Yep. Thank Kevin Hart for that.
Now, look, I think we have the picture here of Kevin Hart at Dwayne Wade's wedding, right? This is a great picture our friend Bobby Metalis took. It's Dwayne and Kevin and CP3 and LeBron. These guys are friends. They had a little, quote, Twitter beef.
A couple days
afterward.
after LeBron left the Heat.
Right, so that tells you how close they all are. They had a little, quote, Twitter beef last night. But, I mean, we've known Dwayne for a long time. There are players like MJ who needed the motivation of someone yelling at him. He's more like he just wants to show up for the spotlight. I don't know. Should they fly Kevin Hart down to Miami?
Oh, he better show up. He better show up.
They should.
I don't know whether Sixers fans want Kevin Hart there or Heat fans want Kevin Hart there.
Let me tell you, Dwayne loved the opportunity to get mad at Kevin Hart.
Well,
it
yeah.
made Dwayne
Fun.
so happy to be able to stare down Kevin Hart because that meant he was doing something that could try to shut him up. Dwayne loved every second of last night, and I'm sure he savored it too because he doesn't know if he's going to get another chance.
Absolutely. And look, this is not the first time. You mentioned at the top of the show. We have some player celebrity beefs in the postseason, and so we're going to take this chance to run it. Come on, come on. We've got to go with your old show timers.
My man Jack.
Yep. Mr. Jack Nicholson throwing up a sneaky. Yeah.
Jack tried to be real sneaky. So
Jack.
he tried to give it and then sit down real quick.
Yep. There we go. Speaking of Scottie Pippen, who can forget the time he dunked on Ewing and told Spike Lee to sit his posterior down in 1994.
Scottie was feeling it in that moment.
There's a lot of language on today's show. Language, and it all comes full circle because later that postseason, we, of course, had the Spike Lee, Reggie Miller game during Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Producer Steve is weeping in the control room right now.
Spike's involved in a lot of this, huh?
Spike showed up in Indiana during that series.
He sure did.
And Kevin Hart should show up in Miami. He's probably got like a show on Friday, but he should try to show up.
I would love to see that.
So would I.
I would love to see that.
So would the fans.
Yeah,
I
I'm sure they
think
would.
the Miami Heat should pay for his plane ticket.
I think the Heat could make room for a seat with him on the court.
Absolutely. I want to bring attention to something that occurred during a Dwayne Wade free throw late in the second quarter last night. The Philly broadcast caught Kelly Olynyk throwing an elbow at Ben Simmons' head, shoulder, around there. Olynyk, of course, has a history with a capital H. Brian, what did you make of this?
Okay, so this is one of these things that the league could review and give a post-game flagrant foul to, because even if it didn't happen in gameplay and even if he didn't make contact, you have got to set the tone here because you've got a problem in this series. The other thing is, later in the game, Olynyk did a little thing with Dario Saric where it looked like Olynyk got tackled, but when you look at the replay, he actually pulled Saric down to the ground. So now we have two borderline plays with Olynyk in this game, and certainly Heat fans would probably defend him, but because of Olynyk's history, this is going to become an issue. And I'm just telling you, I've been around long enough to know that in these series, stuff like this starts to pile up, and Dario Saric is going to come out in this game watching out for Olynyk, and this is going to get interesting.
Look at the slow-mo here. Simmons isn't like that. What's weird to me is the slow-mo and what's happening there. It'd be one thing if the two of them were like kind of starting to get into it post free throw.
Nothing.
Ben Simmons, first of all, Kelly kind of walks over through the high five thing. Simmons is talking to his teammate.
He's antagonizing.
Yeah.
He's antagonizing.
Look, first of all, it's probably a good thing that Ben didn't feel it or see it. Also, like you said, I think it would have escalated a little bit.
If it had caught him,
oh no, if it would have caught him, I don't think he wanted to catch him anyway. But I think just the fact that Ben didn't feel the wind or anything like that, or didn't see it, it was no big deal. Because I think if he would have connected, or if Ben saw him throw it, even though he didn't connect, that Ben probably would have, it would have been something that escalated from that point on. He's already been really targeted. I wouldn't even say targeted. He's targeting guys, other guys on other teams.
But there's guys like this. It's always on the borderline.
He's getting that stigma of being a dirty player.
Well, he's fought. He really fought that he didn't intend to hurt Kevin Love, and he's fought that very hard, and Love has forgiven him for the play. But when you see stuff like this, you add it to the resume, and it becomes a problem. But that's a secondary issue. The primary issue is we have potentially 5 more games here, and Olynyk is going to be involved in action under the basket in 5 more games. And if something doesn't slow this down, this is going to escalate.
The Sarge thing, the pulling him or hugging him a little bit, I mean, that happens all the time. When they go down, you can see Sarge hits the back of his head a little bit. Obviously, it wasn't too bad, but that can be bad.
It's a dirty play.
Here's what the show recommends today. I got it. Oh, we're going to show you guys. This book is so good. Hang Time, My Life in Basketball, written by, I am so excited this man is here, Hall of Famer, legend, Elgin Baylor. This memoir chronicles how he transformed the NBA from a horizontal game to a vertical one, and that is underselling it. Fighting against racism. I mean, GM of the Clippers under the infamous Donald Sterling. This man has done and seen it all, and he will join us next on The Jump. The word legend does not even begin to cover our next guest. I mean, I think there should be a statue of this man on every corner in Washington, D.C., but we will get to that later. In college, he was the Final Four MVP. In the NBA, Rookie of the Year, 11-time All-Star, 10-time All-NBA First Team. He once scored 61 points in an NBA Finals game, which is still the record, by the way. And his 27.4 points per game ranks 3rd in NBA history, behind only Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain. So welcome, Elgin Baylor. Thank you so much for joining us. Growing up in D.C., I mean, the way people say your name in my hometown, your hometown, is, I'm so thrilled you're here. You can see I'm kind of losing my composure a little bit. This is Elgin Baylor. I want to ask you first about your book, because this is awesome. You're not someone who has spoken, you don't go out and advertise for yourself a lot. You're not known as a showy guy who's always bragging. So I want to know what the reaction has been. Now that you finally wrote a book, I know people wanted this for a long time. How have people been reacting to it?
Great. I mean, the reactions have been great. You can't say I'm surprised. I am surprised, And everywhere I've gone, people have complimented me, the fact that, the book, and they've read it. And they've said some nice things about it.
Said some nice things. By the way, it's called Hang Time, which is because the man invented Hang Time.
The first one.
Sometimes you see guys from the 60s who maybe couldn't compete today. This man was ahead of his time. He would have been just fine playing today's game. Now, Byron calls him Mr. Baylor.
I know.
If Byron calls him Mr. Baylor, you better believe I'm calling him Mr. Baylor.
Respect here.
Mr. Baylor, you had a wonderful honor recently when across the street here at the Staples Center they put in your statue. What was that? Some people said that was way overdue, but what did that honor mean to you to get that?
No, it was great, because they had some other great players there too, getting the statue. And I'm very grateful, honored that, to get a statue, and I'm really happy about it.
Well, I want to ask you this, Mr. Baylor, and we've been at golf tournaments and all that good stuff together for a number of years, but you were the first African-American general manager in this league. Have you seen any progress in that position of having African-Americans in the front office, or do you think it's just kind of stayed where it has been for a long time?
Well, I haven't really followed it much, but I think there have been more, more than they've had in some time. They have a lot of African Americans now, in the front office.
Are you happy with the progress?
Well, you're never really totally satisfied, because you're always going to find some fault or something like that. But I think it can and will get better.
I mean, you made great strides for that. You grew up in a segregated era, in a segregated city in Washington, D.C. You went to work for Donald Sterling, and we do not have enough time on this network, much less on this show, to get into the intricacies of that. But you did sue him in 2009, and I know that after he was thrown out of the league, you said very simply that justice had been served. The fact that you stood up for yourself and for other people in that position, you were willing to go to court over it, I know had a huge impact on other executives and coaches and former players around the league thinking what their worth was. Is that something that you still guys talk to you about today?
No, not really. No, it's something that's a dead issue. Donald is here and gone.
Yes.
So really, there really hasn't been any discussion about it. No one really want to even talk about it.
Well, I had asked Byron before the show, I said, oh, do you have any Elgin Baylor stories? And I'm thinking, Lakers legend, maybe you came and spoke to them during the Showtime era, and the look on his face, he's like, I didn't play with Elgin Baylor. He didn't mean that, but obviously just the inspiration that you could give. And when we say hang time and you reinvented the game, could you kind of take us through when you first started playing the way you did and just hanging as you went above the rim and playing above the rim? What was the reaction of the other players in the league?
I don't know, because I never was conscious of it or even really, I'm not downgrading the players, but I never even thought about it, what I was doing. Because when you play, and I'm sure he feels the same way, the defense is going to dictate to what you're doing, how he's guarding you. Sometimes you do something that you've never done before. So you really don't know. And I don't know. It's nothing I practice on. I never go out there and try to practice different shots, maybe shoot free throws. But when I play, whatever the way the guys guard me, he's determined, really, the defense, if he's playing good defense, determine what you're going to do, what kind of shot you're going to take. You don't go out there with this mind that you're going to do certain things, because it doesn't really work. And you can't play that way. You shouldn't be playing that way. You should let the game, come to you.
I love that idea. I love that. Oh, if I can't go through him, I'll just go over him, which nobody else was doing at the time, which is amazing.
That's what he means by letting the defense dictate.
Yes.
The defense stayed here, he went over.
He went up and over, which is awesome.
Well, the defense is going to dictate what kind of shot thing you're going to take. Yeah. How the guy's playing you. He's playing you this way, then you go that way or whatever, go up. The defense will determine that.
You were one of the only people who could go this way at that time, so that was pretty good. I wanted to ask you, too, about today's game. There really is a title or bust mentality, right? Rings is what everyone says. How do you feel when you hear that?
That what now?
This title or bust. You have to be a champion to sort of make your mark.
Oh, no, I really don't, think about it. I just think the players, they're not being, self-righteous or something like that. But I think the thing about it, patients don't be concerned, is that they've given their best effort to go out there and they've given it the best they, have. And people should appreciate that, Some guys go out there and, do some things that's not great.
Yeah, I think with Mr. Baylor here, I think if you look at those stats that Rachel put up before we even started talking about him, the 11 All-Stars, the 10, first team NBA, 27 points a game, that doesn't diminish if he doesn't win a championship. That's one of the reasons he's still considered one of the greatest players that's ever played in this game, and that's why he's in the Hall of Fame. So I think we also have to respect the fact that he got to the finals 8 times.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times we don't take that in consideration. I look at Chris Paul, who's one of my favorite all-time players, who I think is a first ballot Hall of Famer when he decides to retire. Hasn't won a championship, haven't even got to the finals yet. And I know that's one of his biggest dreams, is to get to the finals and play for a championship. It does not diminish what this man has been able to accomplish in this league. And the thing, obviously, the same goes with Mr. Baylor as well.
He had some of the best finals performances as a player of all time, without question. His record in the playoffs as individually is almost unmatched.
61 points. I'm just going to say that again. Before we go, do you have a favorite player in today's NBA? Who do you love to watch the most?
A player, I like to watch the most is LeBron James.
There you go.
Really. But also Curry from Golden State. That guy, you've seen it. It's impossible. Somebody shoot like that. I have never seen anything like that in my life.
Well, see, now you know how people felt about you. Well, it's good. We have the comp
really,
right there.
That guy it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You watch Curry.
No, he's special.
Isn't that something special? I don't care where he is. He just comes in and gets it and just flicks it up there. And not but net. He doesn't know lucky bounces or nothing like that. It's amazing. I enjoy, and the thing about it, he's a very unselfish player, and he gets the ball to his teammates too. He gets a lot of assists and everything else. He's just, I'd say freak of nature. I've never seen that. I'll never think you will ever see anybody shoot like that again. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He just, way back behind the 3-point line, and he just gets it, and he just, God.
You'd have liked to have him on your team.
Oh, of course. Like a magnet or something. He must have a magnet on that ball or something like that. Really, it's just incredible.
The Warriors would like him back, no doubt, and I'm going to send this clip of you talking about Steph to Steph, because I know he's going to love that. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Elgin. We're thrilled. Everyone go buy this book, because there is so much in here, goes way beyond basketball, really the culture of basketball, the culture that you grew up in, how things have changed in America, how things have changed in the sport. It's so good. Please respect this man. He deserves every ounce of it. All right, coming up, what does the panel think about the G League player salaries coming up? Is this going to be the gateway for changing the way college, NBA, everything works? But first, here's the distant replay, this date, 2013.
It's another fast break opportunity. Once again, the Iguodala behind.
Between the legs, behind the back. That is nice.
A perfect pass.
Emo with the hair.
Kobe was asked on Twitter if he's ever considered coaching, and he says, nah, I coach with content. Detail. Kobe. All right, it was announced today the NBA G League is increasing all of its salaries to $35,000 this season. That is an increase of 84% from its lower tier. What's your reaction?
Yeah, considering what they were paying the guys who were drafted in the 2K League,
right.
It brings them in line with that. Still not there to get where you want to maybe to get guys to not go to Europe.
Although you did have a top 10 prospect, college prospect,
That's true.
decide he was going to go to the G League.
It's definitely a good step forward.
Yeah, it is a big step forward, but Brian's right. It's still nowhere near where it should be, but it's progress. And that's one thing we got to look at is progress, and let's see where it is next year.
Right, and again, Rashawn, there's Baisley. There you go. Decommitted from Syracuse. Now he's going to the G League. I think this is just a pretty clear signal. I think these salaries will eventually get up into the six figures, and we will see guys moving this way. All right, at the buzzer, we got to get this in. John Wall and Bradley Beal saying this morning that Toronto got away with numerous fouls during Game 1. Brad Beal said the Raptors, quote, hold and grab a lot on defense. Is this gamesmanship for tonight's
And there's Kyle Lowry holding and grabbing.
Or do you think they got a point, Byron?
I think they got a point, but you know what? You got to play through it. This is the playoff. Everybody's going to grab. Everybody's going to hold. Don't talk about it. Play.
I love Bradley Beal and John Wall. They are nothing if they're not honest, and I appreciate that, but they need to play better.
Play.
They need to play better.
And you know what? And they will. Those two will.
It's okay. I think good. I do think this matters when you make a point in the press, and obviously they have made a point to the league. You know, behind the scenes, this tape has all been sent. Is it going to change anything? Maybe not, but it will make the refs more alert. They will be defensive about the idea.
I think that's exactly what they wanted to do, is make the refs more aware of all the holding and grabbing that's going on out there. But at the end of the day, like Brian said, y'all got to play. You got to come out and play basketball. This is playoff basketball right now.
Brian, the Raptors were so focused on Game 1. You did that big piece.
I know.
How do you feel they're going to come out in Game 2?
I got to go research Game 2s. They've been great in Game 2s. Game 2s, they're awesome.
So you're saying they're going to win Game 2?
Maybe maybe Game 2 will be a problem.
All
We'll
right,
have to
that's
wait
it from LA. Sports Nation is next. We'll see you after the playoff games tonight.
All right, y'all. So D. Wade's wife said it's disrespectful. He always does this.
Hey, Gabby, chill out now.
Now,
Don't chill out one game, Gabby.
I like her on Twitter. I like her too.